Alright, so we're going to make some pot roast or slow cooker roast. And it is pretty basic on the ingredients. A roast. This is 4 pounds. Make sure that your roast can fit into your crock pot. This might actually be a little bit larger, so we'll have to deal with that when we get to it. Some potatoes, preferably new potatoes, quartered, or use smaller potatoes and just half them. Some mushrooms. These are pretty big ones. I usually use smaller ones. You don't want them too small, thinly cut, but then you can get them from the grocery store already cut like this. Some carrots. I prefer using little baby carrots because they're already sliced up and everything and ready to go. Some celery, sliced not too thin. Again, you don't want things too thin because it'll just be mushy inside. And then 1 onion, and I've just sliced this in the bowl here because I just want big chunks of onion. And to make life easier, over on the soup pile, McCormick's makes a pot roast thing. It's slow cooker sauce. So it's a sauce, and all you really have to do is pour it in with your roast, and then it gives you your flavoring. However, I've already put some Lee & Perrins on here and some McCormick's Montreal steak seasoning from Grill Mates, which I really like to season my steaks, my meat, and I put it in here. It's only been here for like 30 minutes. The best thing if you want to season your, marinate your meat, it's probably best to do it for like more than 4 hours or even like overnight, so it can really soak up into it. I also put on some rosemary, but I put that too early. I need to put that on afterwards, but we'll put some more on afterwards. And we'll also sprinkle on some ground cumin, just for some little bit of flavoring. That's all. We're just going to add a little flavoring onto the roast along with the McCormick's pot roast thing. So first thing you need to do with the roast is actually brown it. So let's get this out of the way. Now, one of the mistakes that I made my first pot roast was I didn't brown it. And because I didn't brown it, the roast never seemed like it ever got done. Because basically what you're doing in the slow cooker is you're just slowly cooking the insides of your meat and stuff with the warmth of the water. Roast, beef, chicken, they make their own broth when you cook them up like this, and that's what really cooks them. To make things brown, like you would, take a hamburger or something, you actually have to brown it in a skillet or on a grill if you'd like, just to sear the edges to give yourself that hard brown look for pot roast, and to start cooking the fats on the roast. So heat up your skillet. Don't put anything in it. This isn't going to take long. Again, this also depends on the size of your roast, how easily you can do this. And my roast is a little big. See here, we got the brown thin that we're looking for. You can almost hear when it's ready to be turned to another spot. It's going to be like less sizzle. As all the water on the outside of the roast is cooked away and it's drying out when it cooks it. And you see I got a couple pieces back here that I'm going to have to come back to because it's just going to get close enough cooked up in the pan. So that's not a problem. But you definitely want to get all of the outside brown before you put it in the pot. Obviously, getting the ends is the hardest part. You might want to have a pretty big size couple forks to do this. You don't want to get your hands on the meat. As you can hear, the sizzle is much less now. There's less fresh meat on the outside to cook. It's getting dried off. Yeah, and it gets hot, so be careful, especially around the fat areas. That's going to be the hottest when you cook it. Alright, let's see how well it fits in the pot. Well, that looks like it's going to fit, which is good. That way I don't have to cut it up. No, my crock pot is only off, warm, low, and high. I got 4 pounds here. I'm probably going to be cooking this between 6 and 8 hours, about 2 hours per pound. The great thing about crock pots and meat and stuff like this is that you can put it in here and just let it go, and as long as you come back every hour or so and dip the fluids that's going to be created out of here back onto the meat, you're going to be good to go. So we're going to put this in here. So you placed. It tells you to place the roast and the vegetables in here, and then you stir in the sauce. That's what the sauce looks like. And like I said, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more rosemary in here, crushed rosemary in. If you have a sage leaf, basil leaf, put that in there if you want. Just basically, when you look at spices, they sometimes put on the back here, put on tomato sauce, curry dishes, beef stew, meatloaf. So you can choose which spices you want to put in here. It's all up to your own flavoring. Obviously, the more you do it, the more understanding you'll have for the flavors that you want. Now, a usual mistake is to try to add water to this. Now, as I mentioned, beef and chicken and pork meats will create their own broth. The water in the meat will come out as it's cooking, and it'll create water. So you don't want to put too much water in it, then you're basically making a stew. And also, on top of that, vegetables will have water inside of them. So I'm not going to add all my vegetables in now. I'm going to add some of the potatoes in. And I used 5 potatoes here. But the idea is you want a good meal. So as many vegetables as you can fit into your crock pot and not like overwhelm it is the way to go. So I'm going to put half the potatoes in. And I'm also going to put half the onions in. And just a few carrots. There's already carrots in the chunks in here, I believe. So we're just gonna put more carrots in. And then I'm gonna save the rest. I'm gonna save the rest of the vegetables to put in about an hour or 2 before I plan on eating. And that way those vegetables will cook, but they won't be as soggy. So we're gonna put on our lid and just make sure you know how your crock pot works. See the water condensation starting to build up here. And just over an hour, and you're not going to be able to see it yet, but at the bottom here there's water's beginning to build up some. So we'll take Alright, so we're a few hours in, and things are still smelling great. We got plenty of juice. We formed all around. And what you want to do is just ladle the juice back up. I'm gonna lift the roast up just a little bit to get stuff underneath it going. The whole key is just to keep the roast moist. Well, it's a little bit after 3. And you can definitely see all the juices now. So, no added water. This is just juice from the meat and the vegetables. So now, you can add the rest of the vegetables in. About 2 hours to cook. So this should plenty. Cook these vegetables. Make sure you get a little bit of juices on them. Get them started cooking. This will be in for less amount of time. They won't be as mushy as the ones that have been in there. About an hour to go for dinner. So just take some more juice up top. Everything's cooking right. Alright, I'm going to get the meat out, but first I'm going to take out some of the vegetables. You can use the juice later. It's beef broth. It also flavor your meat. You eat it right now.
And to help him clean up his library.
Nice dish of vegetables. As you can see a little bit, the meat is already just falling apart. That's what you want. It's easy pickings. Nice and easy. Yep. Enjoy.